Hello, everyone. I'm so excited that you're here for Melissa's Musings. I'm just gonna go with the song. We are waiting today for Tracy Campagna of Guaranteed Rate, one of my great friends. And John and I work with her as well, but great friend here in San Diego, and she is a powerhouse, maniac on a mission when it comes to loans, super passionate about, and here she is. Adding, and as you guys know, I am Melissa Steele with Steele San Diego Homes. There she is, the
Hi.
brilliant and beautiful Tracy Campagna. How's it going, Livy?
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. The beautiful Melissa Steele.
I was just introing myself with Steele San Diego Homes and Tracy's with Guaranteed Rate. And we are chatting today about a really fantastic topic, and one that I feel like we often see in our line of work, Tracy, being in that we are in a business where people are making some of the biggest decisions of their life. And we see it time and time again, people holding themselves back with fear.
Yes, that's true.
That's what we're chatting about today. So I know that you, in your personal life, have broken through some fear, for sure, like John and I have with Michael.
I love it that our stories are so similar, and that's one of the things that bring us together, because I think that we're both very fearless. But yeah, I mean, just like you, we moved, to San Diego with a dream in mind of expanding our business and, being 100% commission and a mortgage banker. That's kind of crazy and, a little bit scary to restart your whole life somewhere new and try to make all new friends and new connections, just like you did.
Yeah, absolutely. And some backstory to that too, like Tracy and her fiance Michael, they had a really robust business and still do back in Chicago, but they decided to uproot their lives like John and I did, come out to San Diego and start completely fresh. And that takes a lot of busting through fear. So we together have both seen on totally different pathways, but surprisingly very parallel, firsthand how busting through that fear can be so rewarding. And that's really what inspires us to do what we do every day. It's to inspire others to bust through that fear that's maybe holding them back from getting a mortgage loan or buying a house. And we arrived at this topic this week because we were chatting about one of Tracy's clients and one of the things that she was dealing with this week. Do you kind of want to fill in the audience on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a volatile market. Rates are rising. And, so I'm going through my book of clients and just saying, hey, if you have an ARM, it might be a good time to think about getting into a fixed rate. It's on your arm. Oh, hi. And, someone said there's no volume.
Todd, can you hear us?
Can anybody hear us?
I feel like there's 10 people watching, so please let us know if you can hear and see our beautiful faces.
Okay, well, I hope you can hear us.
Yeah,
but
keep going. Jesse, can you hear us? Let us know. Please write us some comments here, peeps.
Yeah,
Would love to know. Would love to know if we're silent out there or if you can hear us. But continue, Tracy. Hopefully somebody can hear us.
I know.
If no
so I can hear you.
Okay.
Right
Yay,
on.
we're in business.
So I'm going through my books of clients and looking at ARMs and saying, this might be a good time for you to think about switching to a fixed rate. And, I started that process even back a year ago because I knew that rates were going to be increasing, interest rates were going to be increasing. And, one of my clients in particular kept saying, well, I'm going to wait for the market to dip. And I kept saying, you're waiting, it's not going to happen. And then finally, when, the rates start climbing, he finally pulls the trigger and says, okay, now let's refinance. Well, now your rate is about a quarter point higher of where it could have been. And it was just interesting to me to see, like, wow, you let that fear of the climbing market, lock you into refinancing when we could have done something about it before, and it's probably saved you some money along the way. So it was interesting to me to see, that people actually will wait until they start getting scared to pull that trigger.
Absolutely. And we see that too on the real estate side with people who hold themselves back from the market right now, hoping for something in the future. So like hoping for the market to come down or for interest rates to stabilize or something. And it's interesting because the people who, John and I, we're firm believers in like the perfect time to buy or refinance or like really make a life decision, big decision, whatever it may be, moving, quitting your job, breaking up with your douchebag boyfriend, whatever it looks like. Ultimately, just like pulling the trigger and getting it done now versus later is so important because we see it all the time in our side of the business on the real estate side where people will we met people 2 years ago who were looking for a house, who were waiting for market to come down. And like their house that they could have bought was like 450. And now the house.
What's it worth today?
Yeah. And like their house that they would have bought at 450 is now like 600. And they're still holding out, waiting for the market to come down. But what they're not understanding is that for the market to come down, typically interest rates are going to go up. And their purchasing power would not only reduce when that happens, but their property, they're going to end up paying for it so much more over time than if they were to just have pulled the trigger at 450. So we see it constantly. And, you know, some people have the rationale for that decision. It doesn't make sense for them in their life at that time. And that's fine, because that's what makes sense. Like, if it's not the right time in your life, it's not the right time for you. But no matter what the big fear standing in your way is, whatever's on the other side of that, if it feels like something that's stretchy, that could be really amazing, but you're holding yourself back, or like that's the golden ticket, but you're here and fear is right here, well, guess what? You get to totally break through that fear, because otherwise you're never going to get what's on the other side of that.
Absolutely. And I think that's like, you know, everybody has fear every single day of our lives, but to get through that, to power through it, to get to the goal you want, it's going to be worth it. I feel like, you know, coming here, making new friends, meeting you, of course, all of that is scary, but then look at the reward of it as well. I think of myself as kind of like the horse, you know, that's running the race. And I just have to have these blinders on like this. And I can't look that way or behind, just like straight ahead, and keep running and running really fast to get through it, you know, to do it, to reach that goal. And it's worth it. It's worth it when you get there.
It absolutely is. And there has never been a time, no matter how tumultuous the road is, or how many times that horse falls down or like bucks or hits a stumble, like whatever is in the pathway of that path and whatever's standing in your way, like that's what makes the achieved goal eventually so beautiful. It's that journey of getting there, because if everything was easy breezy and dreamy, and you moved from Chicago and just immediately had $1 million of business and like 1 million friends, like it would not be as fulfilling as it is when you are going to reach that $1 million of business, or when you do reach your dozen close friends and you're like, oh my goodness, I just had like the most amazing dinner party after a year of meeting these new peeps. So I love that. I think falling in love with the journey and like the roadblocks, the roadblocks that you're going to experience as you embark on the fear journey. That's really, you got to learn to love it.
I do. And I think that it's almost like, I mean, I don't want to say like, oh, I'm a fear mongol, I just like go after it. But I feel like when there is fear, it's almost an exciting time too. It's like, you know, oh, this is scary to me and I'm going to go and I'm going to conquer it. And that is kind of exciting when you're done with it. Or when you get through that, you're like, how amazing. How amazing are we?
We've got a bunch of people watching right now who has experienced that. If you have, put like a pound it emoji in the box and give us some love, because seriously, like those of us who thrive on that like busting through fear, I do it all the time. It's almost like not a high, but it's almost like a new challenge. Like I tell John before something big happens and before we make a big move, it almost feels like I'm vibrating. I'm like, ooh, like here it comes, like let's do it. And every time you bust through the fear, get to the other side, you're like, oh, that was totally freaking possible. What's next?
Exactly. I love that. I just love you. I love your enthusiasm for everything. You're an amazing person. I love you as a real estate agent. I mean, we just have this amazing connection. And, you know, I think it's just, I want to say you're an awesome. And if anyone's watching right now and is looking for a real estate agent, they should definitely be choosing you and John. Just want to plug you,
my friends. You are the sweetest. And similar compliments to you. The reason that we work with Tracy and Mike is their powerhouse team, and they crush it. And we wouldn't do business with them if they didn't crush it. Those of you know that work with us, we have a very high standard for the way that we do business. So, Tracy is a powerhouse of a human being, and totally would love to support you in busting through your fear. As you guys know that I am always here to support you as you bust through fear. We are so excited for what you are going to accomplish. Let us know in the comments. We'd love to know and support you in what you want to accomplish and what you declare. But ultimately, thank you so much, Tracy, for joining us in our Busting Through Fear conversation. And
thanks for having me on. I'd love to be a guest again someday soon. In person,
for being proof that like following your dreams is amazing. Like you are doing the same thing that John and I are doing, following your dreams every day, and it's amazing and inspiring to see.
Yes, on to this specific pursuit of paradise and happiness.
Oh yeah, that's nice. That's a good tagline. I like it.
I'll put that on my signature now.
Yeah, that's good. That's it.
All
Well,
right. Have
thank
a
you
good
guys
day.
for watching. Hope you have a fabulous Friday. We'll talk to you soon. Love you.
Bye.